The Tar Lakes, Lake 5 on the linear complex. I'm in peg 13, commands basically a big bay, a bit of open water, margins to fish to. There's a lot to go at. I've clipped 2 rods up. They're both, believe it or not, at 10 wraps, clear clay spots, one out to the open water, lovely, and one about 2 rod lengths off the back margin. I've seen a couple of signs of fish, a bit of fizzing, so I do believe they're in the area. We've had a bit of a mare this morning. It's supposed to be a 23-hour session, but you're going to get a 20-hour session basically. Some idiot left their net at the home 2 hours away, so they had to go and buy a new one. And then on the way out, I noticed someone's sort of scraped along my front bumper on the car. I'll show the footage now. So yeah, not a great start to the session, but hopefully we can bag a few fish and it makes up for it. So I'll see you guys in a bit. So the rig I've opted in to use is a Slip D Ronnie rig, a bit of putty there weighing that down. Size 4 barbless long shank X into a little snowman of a salty squid bottom bait topped off of a banoffee pop up in 12mm. So you've got a bit of sweet and a bit of fishy there, and then that's just running straight into a 3-ounce inline pear lead as usual into the 1.5 of rig tubing. And I'm going to put on a little PVA bag of boilie, clip that on, get it out to the spot, fire a couple of baits over the top. I'm going to start off light. I'm not too sure what they're like with bait in here. I know there is a lot of smaller ones as well, so I don't really want to put too many small baits out and attract all the smaller ones. We're going to try and go for a bigger hit of the larger fish. So I'm going to get these rods out and then we'll chat a bit more about the session as that pans out. So the rods are out there, bang on the spot, so a bit of bait around them, very confident in them. So now it's just a waiting game, hope the carp get grubbing around, get their heads down, and we can bag a couple. Left-hand rod keeps on getting consistent liners already. It's been out for about 5 minutes. I'm not too sure if it's still trying to settle. I'm going to set the camera up on there and just try and capture some of the liners, because the bobbin is moving a little bit, so I do believe there's carp in the area. So until then, I'll catch you guys in a bit, and hopefully we can land a fish and get one on the bank. So this video is powered by the Go Catch app, and that makes your fishing very, very simple. Let me show you exactly how this works. So you create an account, you log in, and you get a map of all the fisheries over the UK and even Europe. You can simply select the area you want to go to, browse through the fisheries. Once you find a fishery you like, you can read up on the description of it and the carp sizes. You can then select your dates and times. It'll show you the availability and what pegs are available. You can then select a peg and simply book it, and you're guaranteed a spot when you turn up because you've got a pre-booked spot. So there's no more turning up to the lake and not being able to get on or into a peg that you want to. You can pre-book that peg now via the Go Catch app, and you can download that on Google Play and in App Store. You can simply prepay for your peg on there, so when you turn up to the bank, there's no worries about paying. It is all done for you. You can set up and get fishing. So the rods have been in the water for about an hour. Not too much to report yet. I'm still getting liners on this left-hand rod, so I do think they're holding up out there. And as we're speaking, on the right-hand rod, just off of our spot, there's multiple patches of fizzing going on. I've seen 3 or 4 separate patches in the last 5 minutes going around. So I think they're in the area. I think it may be the smaller fish though. The fizzing is only slightly, it's quite small. But all we can do is keep our fingers crossed and keep pushing forward, and hopefully we can bag one soon. I'm going to leave them out there for a fair few hours. I don't really want to fiddle with them if there is fish in the area. I will redo them just before dark, but other than that, they're only going to get changed a couple of times if we don't have nothing. So I'll give you another update later on. It's been a very quiet few hours. I haven't seen no more signs of carp since the last time I spoke to you. The fizzing's gone, the liners are gone. I don't know if they've moved out or they're grouped up somewhere and not really feeding much, so the signs are very subtle. I got wiped out by a coot, so my luck so far isn't great. Left the net at home, someone's done the car, and now I've been done by a coot, rods wiped out completely, had to bring them in, redo them. But with the noise and keep casting, I don't like doing that. It does spook the fish off the area, which I'm wondering if that's why the fish have maybe moved out and I haven't seen those signs. We've got about an hour left of light. I'm going to put those rods back out just before dark. Bit of bait, try and get them in feeding overnight, and hopefully we can bag a few that way. It is currently 6 degrees, which is probably going to be the coldest night of the year, and we're in that time of change, so it really does put off them carp from feeding. After a few weeks of consistent temperatures, they do get back to normal and you find that they start feeding again. But these are very young fish in here, so my idea is that they're going to be holding up in the reed bed. That's a very natural thing for young carp to do. Also, with the hook sizes, smaller hooks do tear young carp's mouths, and you tend to get more hook pulls as their mouth is a lot softer. So by upping your hook size, I'm on a size 4. Hopefully I can avoid that. I've come across a snag coming back from that margin down there. I did get snagged on it. I walked around, got a different line lay on it, and fortunately got it out. But we've got to be very mindful if we hook a fish during the night to keep it away from that snag, because that could be deadly, and I do not want to lose any carp at all. Other than that, that is our update. I'm going to come back to you when I'm putting those rods back out and a bit of fresh bait, show you what I'm doing, and hopefully the night gives us some action. So the camera battery died when I was getting the rods out, so I've just charged that back up now. It's getting very cold, as you can see from all the steam coming out of my mouth. That's it, they're bang on, they're back on them spots with a bit of bait, a bit of extra bait for them to grub around on, and hopefully the night brings us something. So hopefully I'll see you guys in the night. If not, I'll see you guys in the morning. Good morning. That was a very quiet night, no action on the rods whatsoever. I got up at first light this morning to look for signs of carp, because that's when they're most active. If you are going to see them, first light is always the way to go, but I didn't see anything. So what I have done this morning is a few hours after that, 2 carp have boshed down to the left hand side, not in our peg, but there's no pegs that people are in commanding that water. So I've put one rod on a yellow pop-up, one rod on a white pop-up in 12mm. They're both sweets. One's banoffee and one's RG bait 7 to 11. And I've clipped on them little PVA mesh bags, and that is it. I've casted them over to them fish. So currently we are realistically on the fish, and that is just a bite at a time, just to nick a bite or two, hopefully, before we go and save the blank. As I said, we've got 2 hours. Anything can happen yet. But at 10 o'clock, we're going to be hitting the road back home, and maybe recording another video later on this afternoon for the YouTube. So I'm going to keep you guys updated later on into the session. Hopefully we can bag a fish, otherwise we're probably going home. So PVA mesh is a very simple system. It's a way of getting bait around your hook bait very accurately, because it's hooked on, disperses around the hook bait, and you've got a little mouthful of bait there. You can pre-tie them, you can be very prepared, you can tie up 50 before a session, or however many you're going to need, clip them on, bang, ready to go. Nice and simple. Get that rig out with a bit of bait very quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I tie it. So what you're going to want to do is put an overhand loop knot in the end. They do come with the loop knot in the end, and I always tie one on there at the end after the bag, so it's ready for the next time. So what I do is I crush 4 to 5 boilies, not fully crushed, just into a couple of bits into the system, and I'm just gonna crush those in there. It's easier for it to break down and easier for the fish to digest. They're very young carp anyway, so I didn't really want too many big baits out there. Then I'm going to go in for a small handful of pellet, just like so. And then I'm going to top that off with a couple more boilies, another 4 to 5 boilies. Crush those in there. And then once you've done that, you get a plunger tool, and I'm going to just compact that down, just like so, make it nice and tight. And then with the weight of that, you could just let that drop out. You could see that's tightly compact. You're going to want to keep that tight, don't let none of that fall out. Pinch that there. Give it a nice little press with your hands. Make it nice and tight. Twist that around. Create a loop in between your fingers. Pass the PVA bag through. Let that drop. Pull that part nice and tight. And then keeping hold of that knot nice and tight while you pull that. That knot is going to be nice and tight to the PVA mesh bag. And then you're just going to cut that off. Cut your tag ends off. And away you go. You can clip that straight onto your rig, and it's a very effective way of fishing during winter and autumn. And there you go, a nice tight parcel of bait, a mouthful for the carp, and that's just going to sit around your hook bait lovely, and hopefully you can pick a bite off that way. So unfortunately the session's coming to an end. I'm fully packed down, just the rods and the net left. There's about half an hour left, but I don't think it's going to happen. So unfortunately we're going to have to call the video there. It was a blank. Hopefully we're going to come back and get some redemption in a couple of months time. I will be back. I'm not giving up on linear at all. I'm going to head over to the St. John's complex next time. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next weekend.